Alright, so I'm back again, seeing if the stream is working. Apologize to everyone for the technical difficulties. I am not sure if it is my system, the game I'm trying to stream, or what's going on there. Thankfully Nate is here to help me troubleshoot, so if you're wondering why I'm like, oh, well, it's not working. It sounds like it may actually be coming through at this point. But I'm going to wait for a confirmation before I continue too much further here. So hopefully it comes through at some point. Otherwise, we can listen to this kicking music for a while. So I'm going to talk for a little while, just to make sure that everything is running correctly. All right, so I'm getting a clear so far. So I'm going to continue on the assumption that we're good to go from this point on. So. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so my turn here with this window a little bit. All right, so we got a couple spells here that we can play. So kind of the turn order goes that you have your hero, and you can increase one of the main stats which are required to cast spells. Generally, might gets you out creatures faster, spell power gets you out spells, and then fortunes get you out spell cards called fortunes a little bit more quickly. So it kind of depends on what you want to concentrate on. From looking at this deck, there's a lot of channeling going on with it. So that guy gives me an extra 1 magic. That person gives me 2. So with that in mind, probably what I'm going to do is increase might for now. And then fortunes get you out. And go ahead and play out a scholar here. Spell resist, damage dealt to this creature by spells is halved, round down. And let's go ahead and pass the turn. Okay. Something that's interesting is this guy is actually a magic shooter, which means that he, I believe, deals spell damage, if I recall correctly, which means that I may not actually take damage from him, but I could be entirely wrong about that, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and get something a little heavier on the board. Yep, okay. So that's actually a pretty strong pairing right there. Alright, pass the turn back to the computer. So we're dealing with a pretty heavy rush deck at this point. Yeah, we don't actually. So one thing I could do is I could deal 3 damage to all creatures, but that seems a little bit premature right now. I think a better option might be at this point just to cripple a couple creatures. And the turn on that. So one thing about playing cards like Celebrations, you must have 2 mana left. I could have played that. The downside is that actually it's not a great move at all, because it gives them card draw and it gives you card draw. Up and down on that, so depends on how you feel about it. So one thing about playing cards Celebrations, 2 mana left. I could have played that. Alright, so that could be pretty powerful. But let's go ahead and jump up to 4. See if that gives me any more options. drop them. I will say they've improved the AI a little bit for the cards since the beginning. This is actually feeling like playing against a real player at this point, which is a little rare. Alright, so let's go ahead and do I think in this case, because I don't have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to pick up, I'm going to get and draw a card and try and see if I can do something. We'll draw a card. Okay, that's interesting. So this actually drops your opponent's card library, which is something I haven't seen a lot in this way. I think actually in this case that's the best move. That allows me to take that out and clear out the row. Oh, okay. But I win anyway. I wasn't honest. I'm super good, guys, because I am not paying attention to my opponent's life. It gives you an idea of how long it's been since I've played this game. Although that should be probably a key thing I'm paying attention to. So you got a little bit of gold, a little bit of XP from finishing that tutorial mission. And a level up, which also gives me a little bit of bonus gold. So let's go ahead and I think jump into maybe some ranked duels here, just to see how this deck feels against just a straight up opponent. I'm still not 100% certain how this deck is going to play, so we're going to learn as we go. Let's go ahead and jump into a game, and then we'll start kind of looking maybe a little bit at the economy as well. I think mostly I just want to sling some cards. Some cards. I don't know if that's a phrase that I can use. I don't know. We'll go with it then. Alright, so we got... It seems like a couple strong starts, so I feel pretty comfortable about keeping this hand. Only thing's a little odd is that we have a lot of high spell power and a lot of high fortune cards, which makes me think that this deck is not particularly well tuned towards a play style. Normally, what you want to do is when you're deck building is keep your fortunes and your powers within one of each other. Actually, I didn't notice he has two fortunes, so actually this card makes a little bit more sense. Probably not a race I can win. Let's do that. Come up there. And then drop him there to delay for a turn. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what I'm building towards for this deck, so a lot of what you're going to be watching is me figuring out the cards and figuring out exactly how this whole thing is constructed. In retrospect, choosing the most complex deck to play through is probably not the best idea when you're just coming back to the game, but live and learn! Live and learn. Interesting. In retrospect, choosing the most complex deck to play through is probably not the best idea. Alright, so we have 4 and 4 on that. 3, so we can't play that, but it's not going to be much use. Move you down. Here. Pump up magic a little bit. And we'll see how that works out. I think I'm more than likely playing against somebody a little bit newer as well. A lot of these cards are definitely within starter deck areas. It's an interesting play there because I wasn't really planning on moving him anywhere. So there's a couple options that I can run here. This guy is actually fairly important overall to living. Let's go and play that. Which bumps him up a bit. And do I mind? There's a couple options that I can run here. Taking the damage. This guy is actually fairly important. Or do I want to deal with... Let's move you up. Those two that. And... let's go and up my magic in preparation for next turn getting down the Titan. I should have attacked. I don't know why I didn't. Alright. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I'm making a lot of really bad mistakes here. Thankfully this guy will continue to essentially regenerate himself throughout the next couple turns. So it's plus. So, more than likely, unless something significant changes, what I'm going to do is push the air elemental down to this field here. It is essentially blocked by a unkillable big bad gargoyle guy, which will help me bring in a lot of damage. And hopefully help me deal with some of these problems that I'm seeing. It's actually a fairly decent move if he's got. I certainly probably could have gotten rid of that or something else. Maybe not. Let's see. All right, so could do this turn is start trying to clear the board out a little bit more. What I think I'm going to do is play through with my original plan. There. That. Attack. Let's go and root him there because I don't necessarily mind taking one every turn from him. It does put me on a little bit of a timer, but not so much of one that I care. And frankly, I feel like it's a timer that I can win against. That one might actually be a strong play up here. Oh, that's pretty strong. Although ultimately it's probably just going to make me move it over. Alright, so we've got some problems. And I think what we may end up doing... Insect swarm is the question. Probably not yet. There. And I think this round draw a card. And let's see. Regardless, I'm going to take 2 from that and then 1 from that. 2, 2. Alright, so I think for now I'm going to hold off on using the Rakshasa and just keep that up as a blocker. And we'll see how that works out. If this is a race, I am not doing so hot now right now. Regardless, I'm going to take... Let's see. Alright, so I think for now I'm going to hold off. And so I think I am playing this deck a little bit wrong as well. I'm playing it a little bit more aggressively. I think it needs to, but I'm not sure what my win condition is ultimately. Whether it's just, it's probably not swarm with creatures given the relative powers and so on that I have on them. It's probably something that I'm not seeing, which is unfortunate. It's something I wish I actually could see at this point. Drat, that is actually something I did not want to happen. No. Alright, great. Not exactly good, not exactly terrible. let's go ahead and move him up top as well, since that actually took care of that for me, which is kind of nice. So that ended up saving me a creature which is pretty powerful against a magic flyer like that. Especially since if it attacks, it's going to take 1 damage back. 1 magic damage, which it's not immune to. So just incorporeal, if you're not aware, damage dealt to this creature by non-magic sources is halved. So it's a little bit kind of the opposite of magic resist on this guy. So these guys are actually pretty good foils to each other. It's going to take 1 damage back. 1 magic damage. Or this is a pretty good foil to the Untamed Wraith. What's interesting is this doesn't prevent me from attacking, so I'm a little confused as to why he threw that onto that particular character, to be honest. Alright, so that was a fairly good play on his part there. Switch him down. Up. And I think I'm going to clear that off of the hand sword. And then I'm going to have to probably throw down 1 guy, so let's make it a good one. He seems dangerous. And we'll go grab a card as well. Probably should have done that first, actually. It's actually, I like that. I like that draw. That could prove useful against this deck, which seems a little bit heavier on the magic damage, but we'll see. So what's kind of nice about the Magic Guard is that it will eventually act as kind of a 1 damage buffer from magic damage for anything around it, which makes it a strong play for something like this, where I can drop him down and won't take a lot of extra hits from stuff. So, all right. So there's no downside to doing this at this point. Gotta be a little bit careful about that because I did just reveal that card to him, which means that he can now try and play around it if he wants to. There. Draw another card here. A little bit too little too late on that guy. He might be useful as a blocker later on, though. Oh wow, that was... Oh god, that was super dumb. I am so good at this game by falling into my own traps. Don't even know what's going on here anymore. Oh wow, that was super cool. Falling into So one thing I'm probably going to have to do after this match is actually go and look at my cards and figure out exactly what's going on with this deck. Alright, I feel like you are not going to be super useful to me. More than likely at this point what I'm doing is just delaying. Unless something really big comes up that definitely tilts the game back into my favor, I'm more than likely going to lose this one. Which is unfortunate. Because I just don't like losing, not for any real reason. More than likely at this point what I'm doing is just delaying. Unless something really big comes up. Oh, that's why I'm hearing my... Okay. Sorry for everyone hearing me twice on there. I didn't realize that another window was open for me streaming. Like, why am I listening to myself talk a few seconds later? Why are you listening to me talk a few seconds later? That's the real tragedy. Alright, yep. So now, super good time for a... something that could clear the board for me. But given that I have not seen out of this deck yet, I don't know if it actually exists. We'll see. Interesting. Since I can. That's super strong. So let's go ahead and get rid of you. Instantly killed from the back row. There's so shooters can attack the front or the back row as they please. Which is problematic if you are dealing with fairly large creatures. Let's try a card here. Yeah, sure, why not? What do we got? What do we got? What can I do here? Well, right now I can definitely use that. So I'm gonna drop that, and I think end the turn on that one. So I feel like we're in a fairly decent position. We can deal damage. We've got a little bit more board advantage, pending what he plays. He's got 2 cards in hand, which means he's either got some pretty decent creatures, or he's got a couple spells that aren't doing a lot for him right now. I've got at least one answer to this dude here, which is going to be nice. He's going to, apparently try and close that lane down. Alright, that's fine. Interesting. I can see why he did that, though. It's actually a fairly smart play on his part. As is that. So he didn't attack with this, which is a little weird since it's immune to retaliation. So I think for now what we'll do is we'll just get rid of this dude. You. And then let's see. Play that. We can play this into the back. I like the idea of playing this into the back, even though it's likely going to get targeted by this dude. And what the heck, let's draw some more cards. Not super useful to me. Honestly. So we'll drop those two. That up. And we draw another card here. And yeah, actually I feel like this is a decent play. So let's go ahead and neutralize that threat completely. Now it's mostly just a glorified blocker for him, so that'll free up that row for 2 turns or so. Depending on if he moves it or not, he might also drop it down a row. Regardless, this guy is going to die this turn, which is unfortunate, but not unexpected. Luckily, I've got a replacement if I see fit. Might also just throw down the Rakshasa so that I can actually deal some damage to him. Which I think did I forget to do that? I might have forgotten to deal damage to him this turn. I'm playing this super well. Oof. No, I do not think I did miss any damage this turn. Interesting play. He's definitely trying to hold out for something. I'm not sure what, though, to be perfectly honest. There. Let's go ahead and drop use some region. A little extra attack. Or a little extra health, I should say. And we'll draw a card. And I feel like that's a decent turn, so hope he has conceded. Which honestly at this point I would too. Never know how that'll work out. So, some experience, got some gold from that. About a 25-minute duel there, so we are actually at the end of the 30 minutes. I thought we'd get a little bit further than we did. Kind of in summation for this game, it's a little bit hard to do that after only 30 minutes of play. Let's take a quick look at the store and just see kind of the pricing, because notice we got about 46,155 gold just from the starter quests. So I'm curious how much that would actually buy us in terms of power. So Heart of Nightmares is the newest set out. You can buy it with seals, which are, I believe, the premium currency. And I'm not sure that there's a lot of good ways to pick up seals at this point, beyond buying them. I could pick up a new pack of that, pick up some of the base set too, which is the new standard, which if you're familiar with Magic, standard tends to be the last couple sets that have been put out, and that's a new thing that they've introduced with these newer base sets. So at about 25,000 gold and about maybe 1,000 per victory, maybe a little bit less than that. You're looking at about 25 games per pack, probably on wins. A few more than that if you lose more often than not. And each pack, so 12 cards, every single pack. So, that could be interesting. We also have the pre-made decks, which are probably actually pretty good buys early on if you want to test out a different set. But yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. See, and apparently I got some more packs, so let's go open these up. See what we pick up. Yeah, a couple more of the base sets. Did we pick anything up for my specific class? Yeah, I picked up another one of them, but I don't know how super useful they are. So in the second pack, so we pick up here. Let's see. You can return if you have. So this is one of the event cards. Oh, that's kind of neat. Being able to draw a card if you have one card or less in your hand. One problem with this particular card, though, is that it can work against you as well if you're not playing a very fast deck. So with like the deck that I'm playing, this would actually be a really horrible event card to have because I tend to be able to hoard cards and draw cards and so on, which seems to be its theme overall. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck real quick here. Again, having just played through it, I didn't really feel like there was any particular bomb cards. It felt very slow and steady, and the magic did not actually seem to help a huge amount, which was surprising and a little bit, I think, unfortunate. It seemed like it should have been a heavier control deck, and it felt like it was trying to be somewhere in between control and aggro, which doesn't really work. You kind of need to be one or the other within a game like this. But let's go ahead and take a look. This one, alright. So this is the Academy starter deck. And let's go ahead and edit the deck real quick here. Alright, and if you haven't played this in a really long time, they greatly improved this interface for deck building and sorting and so on, which I'm super glad for because it was absolutely terrible before. It was hard to find things. It was hard to actually sort cards. Another nice thing that they've done is because they've introduced the standard in the open format is if you're a returning player and you have a lot of older cards like I did on my other account, it's really tough to know exactly what you can play with in the newer sets. So format validation and being able to actually sort by the standard cards is really useful for anyone coming back. You'd be surprised by, I think, how many cards actually probably still apply if you go back to the game. So let's see. So pretty standard hero. This is essentially what you're going to expect to see when you have one, which is one attack, one magic, 2 fortune. Let's see. Let's go through. So early game, you're dealing with a lot of stuff to bring your magic up, which again I'm not sure about because there does not seem to be a lot of really powerful board clearing spells within it that cost a lot. About the only thing that really takes advantage of that extra magic channel that you pick up from those guys, and I believe from another card in the creature hand, is this Wither spell, which can be pretty devastating, granted, but it's also not necessarily board changing because it only affects one creature. Picking up insect swarms early is okay, but I believe, if I remember correctly, most of the creatures that you're dealing with are around 3 to 5 health. So if you play that and you're playing against somebody with larger health creatures, you're essentially going to be screwing yourself a little bit more than you are them. The only nice thing is you have a little bit more control over when you play it, so... And ups and downs on that. And again, you only have, I believe, one of those, so you have to be pretty lucky to actually draw it to begin with. Let's see. I think the Poisonous Bulb is an interesting card, but I don't think it plays well in this this deck, because you're dealing with a lot of creatures that are either melee or flyers. You don't actually have a lot of just pure ranged attackers in this deck, which is where a spell like that might be even more powerful, and something you could probably force an opponent to play around pretty heavily, using the combination of the gargoyles to block and the ranged attackers to keep on the offensive. Moonsilk Fetters, strong card, especially in the early game, when you can deal with creatures a little bit faster. And this is probably really where the Magic Channel shines a little bit more in this pre-made deck. I'm not 100% sure if I would play with it in the opening, but I'm not as familiar with the current standard format, so I can't say how strong it really is, unfortunately. Stone Shield, if you're familiar with Magic, it's a fog. It's useful, but it's kind of a last-ditch effort type card where you just don't want to deal with something coming in and smacking you around the wrong way. Again, Insect Swarm, good. Probably could use more of them. Death Seal, again, good card. This is actually one of probably the stronger cards in this particular set. Deal damage, destroy the creature. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Pretty devastating as well. You can use this on some pretty strong opponents early on. So the only what I end up doing is remove that guy. Drop in another one of those. Drop one of those. Throw in another one of these. And let's see, we picked this up. Deep Roots. All melee creatures gain anchored. Could go either way with that one. Earth Pound, not super useful. So kind of what I'm going to do is customize and see what we can pick up that might be more useful. Something like this could be actually pretty strong in a deck like this. Fairly early drop, and a fairly good blocker or deterrent. But honestly, we don't have a lot of additional creatures that we can play into the deck that are super strong. Could play another one of these. Really not worth it though. Honestly, this is probably more of a spell card than anything else. And there's a couple ways to play around it too. But that is as it were. So we might have to actually throw in another spell. Look at the fortunes there real quick. Yeah, the fortune spells, searching for a spell is good. It's like having an extra copy of the spell in your hand, but again, the spells in this are a little bit weak, so it's not as powerful as it could be. Yeah, so at least two spell searches. This one actually a little bit weirdly weaker than Favorite Spell, which is interesting. Although I guess it's the neutral version of this specific card. The Fortune Telling, I'm not a big fan of. Draw 3, discard 2. Basically, it's draw a card. Draw a card, but it's a good way to search through your library very quickly if you need something specific. But there are actually, I think, better cards out there that do that. A couple other fortunes, I believe, that can do like draw 2s, draw 3s, that sort of thing, without the downside of having to discard as well. The event cards, we don't really have anything that we can put in, so there's not much of a point to take a look at these, beyond just knowing what's actually in the deck. Pretty bog standard, though. Deal 1 damage to all creatures. We saw most of these through the other game, through the long other game. Let's see, I gotta put 2 more cards into this deck in order to get it to fill out correctly, so I'll grab another one of you. And let's see. That could be an interesting way to clear something out. But I might honestly, just because there's not a lot of better options, just go Go back with the fog. Pick that back up again. Alright, so... a little bit of deck building. Not a lot, though, which is unfortunate. But let's go ahead and pick up another rank duel. And, yeah, we'll see how this one turns out with the new and improved deck. I'm not sure if this is new and improved, guys. This could all be a horrible mistake. We'll see, though. One thing that is interesting playing a little bit of the slower deck than some of the more aggressive starter decks. Necropolis is middling aggressive. I believe Stronghold and I can't remember the other one, the demony one, are both a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit more aggressive. So you could probably pull in a few more games using those. And as a starter, I think the aggressive decks, you're probably going to do a little bit better as far as picking up new cards for you to use and new cards to build decks with. This feels... I mean, this is definitely a little bit more of an advanced playing deck. And a lot of the card choices are a little weaker than they could be in a deck like this. So, honestly, a lot of the games are going to be a little bit slower than they otherwise might be. But that is the choice that I made at the beginning. Try and make it interesting for myself. So, we'll see how that actually pans out in the long run. In the long run, apparently being this cute. So, how is everyone? As long as we're standing around waiting. So, here we go. Alright. So, let's see. There's a couple strong hands that I'm starting. A couple strong cards that I'm starting. But I would like to see if we can get something better. So, alright, yeah, I feel a little bit more confident about this hand. We start off with a little bit more Magic Channel and some early attackers, if we so choose. Something on curve. Play through. So the goal here is to get to 3 attack by turn 3. So this is the Stronghold deck. Again, a little bit more aggressive than the deck that I'm playing right now. Let's see. Which is rather unfortunate. I was not looking forward to this aggressive of a deck this early. And I might be misplaying this a little bit. But I don't necessarily think I am, because that Harpy will literally eat these guys alive if I put them in as blockers. So I feel okay about leaving that up. What I'll probably do is drop the Rakshasa in front of it next turn, and just use that as essentially a continually just evade blocker. Oof, that is scary. Yikes. I do not like that one. Do not like that one. Shoot, and I can't use the Rakshasa in this case to defuse it like I could with the other one. So I can go right down over here. That. Alright, so next turn he's going to swing in for 5 unless I block. Or unless I just kill it outright. I think... Shoot, I should have done that. And for now, let's try and force some attacks here. That's another difficulty with the insect swarm, is that if you're dealing with something like this, where it's not going to instantly kill their creatures, but it will instantly kill your creatures, you're kind of at a disadvantage playing it, unless you're just willing to sacrifice your board. And this early, and with this kind of hand, that's just not a position I'm willing to put myself in yet. Yeah, and right now the magic card, not going to be super helpful because... And frankly, he just doesn't have a lot of magic creatures, and I don't expect him to pull a lot of magic creatures either. So, c'est la vie. Definitely a set that I really wish I could have avoided was the damage from that, but swing in, push here. There, and let's draw a card. So that could be useful later in the game. Unfortunately, as dangerous as these guys actually seem to be right now, I fully expect he has something a lot worse up his sleeve. And I am going to lose my 2 magic channel, which is going to be problematic for me this turn. I'm at least going to lose 1 magic channel, I should say. Which means that playing some of these guys now is going to be my best bet. Although next turn I'm only going to have 5 to play with, so iffy. Thanks. Smart play. Interesting. So really is I clear the board now, but I have nothing to play in response. On the flip side, I take 5, 6, 7. I'll be able to play something like that, but honestly, I think at this point I could play. So yeah. Good reset. Unfortunately, I don't think that was a trade in my favor. We'll be able to pull something like the Obsidian Gargoyle out. Yeah, so right there is the card I was talking about a little bit better. Cave is definitely a stronger card draw than my drop 6s. Sets up that. And so he is a big activation, so that's not going to be super helpful. Is he magic? Yes, he is. So he could actually sort of. I can't remember if he gives himself guard though, but I think he does. mitigate a little bit more damage, then what I can do is pull the gargoyle down. And hopefully keep that from getting out of control. Possibly stabilize, probably not. I still do have a few options for dealing with larger creatures. Also, ooh, got a campfire. I did not see that. Really good option. So I'm definitely playing against a very aggressive deck here. This might actually be a good time to do a second board clear. Searching is that out. So one difficulty here is if I do not drop the gargoyle directly in front of her, then I am going to lose her next turn to the Swift. Probably will lose that either way. Or if uses an opportunity to put pressure. Attack and it rages and kills her anyway, so prudent thing is to do nothing. Alright. Yeah, I'm not sure how well this deck is going to handle these faster, more aggressive playstyles. We'll see though. Especially given the number of cards in his hand, he is more likely to be able to play out his hand than I am. And because his cards are infinitely more aggressive than mine, he's going to be able to control the board a little bit more easily than I would. We'll see how that works though. So right now this will just deal nothing because of the magic guard and then the magic resist. I would not be completely surprised if he ends up moving it. Interesting. Surprising. All right. Can't use anything yet, so may as well. So now, regardless what happens, I pretty much have to fill my board up. Or else I'm dead this turn. Or this next turn, I should say. actually, no, that would have been a bad card to play as a blocker. The evade could have been triggered, and then something like this could come in and pretty quickly decimate. It's actually incredibly powerful as a card. There are a lot of ongoing spells that deal some hefty damage if given the chance. Yeah, that's worrisome. That is worrisome, I should say. As well, something that big, never a good sign. Thankfully, I have no flying creatures to deploy on that line, so we'll see. This is actually going to be a pretty strong play here. That'll allow that to stay alive a little bit longer, and could help me keep board control for a little bit longer. Interestingly, kills his own spell. I'm not sure what he's expecting to accomplish there. Let's go searching for something I can use. Alright, let's see if I can stabilize at 5. If I can start forcing him to drop a card. Ooh, yikes. That's super not helpful to me. Well, it might be more helpful than I thought it was. See what he does. So the preferable thing for him to do right now would be to not draw cards, to try and play out his hand as much as possible to activate the Great Hunt event. But from the looks of it, he just does not seem to have a lot to play with right now. He's playing filler. He's waiting for something bigger to come along. We'll see if he gets it. No, bad. Do not want. Okay, I feel okay about this. We'll see if this this board position holds. we've got a little bit more to draw here. I can easily drop these two for something better if it comes along. We'll see if it does. I might have to. That guy is big and scary. Don't like him. So hopefully draw into the other death seal. Otherwise, that guy could be a real issue. Okay. So more than likely he's going to try and drop one of those. Ongoings with that. Let's see if it's successful. Okay. Alright. Feel pretty comfortable with that turn. Honestly, at this point, it's a question of whether he can clear my board or how long he can hold out until he pulls something useful. More. Oh, interesting. More than likely, though, unless he can fully block a couple rows off from me, he will be dead next turn. Interesting choice. Oh, wow. Okay. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just actually being needlessly important, so I apologize to my opponent. I really should have just ended that game. Alright, it's a little bit shorter than the last game. Overall, less gold than the last game, interestingly. I'm not sure if that's a function of time now, because I know they changed the algorithm, I guess is the best way to put it, that determines how much gold and XP you get. To prevent what was called essentially win dropping. So you do is you'd enter the rank duels and then immediately withdraw, which would drop your rank down far enough until you were facing easier opponents, and that just made it a lot easier to farm through gold than playing against opponents of your actual skill level. So yeah, I mean, overall it's a fun game. I think the downside is going to come trying to pick up new cards and trying to pick through and actually build out decks. One of the things that I really am disappointed about, honestly compared to other free-to-play games out there, is that you don't get the deck building experience right off the bat. At least not a robust deck building experience, I should say. We switched a couple cards out here and there, but otherwise there wasn't just wasn't a lot of stuff going on with this one. Alright, well, it is about 10 o'clock my time, and unfortunately I have to work in the morning, because I'm an adult. So, thank everyone for watching. This is the second to last of our 30-30-30 streams over at YMHMI.com. So, tomorrow you can tune in, and you'll get to see Nate playing another awesome game. Probably not this one, because it would be a different game tomorrow. And then on the 31st, you can tune in and watch us die. So thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and, you know, go home and play some games.